Hi guys, it's Heather. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to go over my current statistics as far as 2022 goes, and I say a lot in my videos. I made $250,000 last year on Etsy, and that is revenue. That's not full profit. My gross profit of that was $100,000. However, after spending fees on ads and other things like that, my actual profit was about $80,000 to $90,000, and that's something that I like saying a lot because I did this selling t-shirts on Etsy, and this is one of the things that people say is the lowest profit margin item that you can sell on Etsy. The market is so saturated on Etsy. How do you even make sales as far as that goes? That's a lot of questions and a lot of concepts people say my way, and I just want to kind of myth bust today as far as that goes, because you can still have a very profitable t-shirt business on Etsy, especially in 2022 or any year. When I went into the competition for my listings on Etsy, there was hundreds of thousands of t-shirts being sold that were doing relatively the same designs and styles that I was doing. I just got outside of my competition by creating my own design styles, my own store aesthetic, and marketing my items on social media and getting free traffic to my items. So there is so much hope for those of you guys who may be thinking t-shirts are so saturated, how can I even get into selling t-shirts on Etsy? A lot of niches are saturated, and there's ways to break through that market saturation, and I'll go through that in a different video here. But I hope that you guys aren't discouraged, and by the end of this you guys are more inspired to start a online t-shirt business with Etsy in 2022 and forward. So guys, today we're gonna go over how much I made last year in comparison to this year. Last year I just began my Etsy store in 2021, so you guys will see relatively no sales to slowly increasing my sales. I'm gonna go over my store statistics and the breakdown of each of them with you guys as well, and I'll show you guys the sales and fluctuations by month. Every month on Etsy it's going to be different. That goes for any e-commerce type of business. A lot of businesses see increases and decreases in revenue, and I'm going to go over why usually you may see decreases in revenue right now specifically, and why you're going to see maybe an increase in the next few months, then you'll see a decrease again, and then you're going to see a big increase in Q4. So we're going to go over all of that, and hopefully I can shed some light on this subject for you guys who are wondering. Alrighty guys, so I wanted to go over the fluctuations in sales you will generally see as a new business owner, especially if you're in the e-commerce world. There are a lot of fluctuations in sales throughout the year, and it changes by month. And that's something that took me a little bit to get used to, because as a new e-commerce business owner and entrepreneur, you have those moments of, oh my gosh, my sales are tanking. Is this store even worth continuing? What if my sales keep tanking? And you kind of spiral into those moments of doubt. And I want to say that fluctuations are so normal as far as e-commerce businesses go and print on demand. Especially on Etsy, there are some heights of sales with Etsy, and there are some dip points with Etsy, I like to call it. Before I get into the fluctuations with Etsy, I wanted to explain quarters of business with you guys. So we usually say, especially in the e-commerce and business world, we'll talk about certain revenue times as quarters. And quarters are generally what businesses use to analyze their performance throughout the year. So there's 4 quarters specifically. There's Q1, which is called Q1, which is January, February, and March. And then there's Q2, which is usually referred to as Q2, which is April, May, and June. So Q3 is July, August, and September, and again, it's referenced to as Q3. Q4 is October, November, and December, and generally with Q4, a lot of people see their sales either double or triple, and sometimes quadruple in Q4, depending what specific year you're in, what events are happening. For example, a lot of people in Q4 of when the pandemic first hit, they got almost triple to quadruple the sales that they would normally get, and that's because a lot of people were online shopping during that time rather than than going into brick and mortar stores and purchasing in store due to that specific event. So these are just some examples of what can happen during certain quarters. One of the slowest quarters that I have seen, at least for my e-commerce business, is Q1. So that's the quarter we're currently in, January, February, and March. And when I show you guys my statistics on my specific store, you may say, Heather, that's a lot of sales. And to be quite honest, it is a lot of sales. I am so grateful I built my Etsy store to this point, but this is my slow season, and my slow season might be a high season for other people, but that's something that I wanted to touch base on in this video. Is you will see fluctuations in sales, you'll see heights of your sales and low points of your sales, especially if you're a beginning Etsy store right now during January through March and even into April. You may see maybe no sales as a new beginner store on Etsy, and that's normal because it might pick up in the next month here, and it will definitely pick up in Q4 when October, November, and December roll around. So definitely be patient if you're a new store on Etsy, because again, this is all just so normal. So one other thing I want to mention before I go into showing you my statistics is that the summer months are generally some of the slowest months as far as e-commerce sales go. So if again, you're a new beginner store on Etsy, that's something to pay attention to, that you will have your lowest amount of orders usually during the summer months. And one of the reasons why is because a lot of people are going outside, they're going on vacations, they're not really doing as much online shopping, and that goes for Q1 as well. A lot of people at the beginning of the year may make a New Year's resolution saying, I'm going to save money this year, and the way they do that, of course, is by saving and not spending as much. So generally, a lot of people I have seen, especially in the Etsy community or print-on-demand Facebook groups that I've been a part of, and even my own print-on-demand Facebook group. By the way, I have a link in the description to join that. I would highly suggest joining my print-on-demand Facebook group because I give so much advice, so many tips and tricks for Etsy and print-on-demand businesses. And if you guys haven't already joined that, you guys are missing out. Join below for that specific group. What I was saying was that a lot of Etsy sellers get very discouraged in January, and they realize, oh, maybe I should shift my focus and maybe do a different stream of income, maybe do something else, because obviously my store is crashing. And that's not the case at all. Usually January is a huge drop in sales, and that is so common. And that's why in Q4, when you're getting double to triple the sales, you want to save and set aside your income for January to operate your business, because that's just something that's very normal. We're gonna hop onto my laptop and I'm going to show you guys exactly all my statistics month by month, and I'm going to show you how my store gets its traffic and how it compared to last year and to this year as well, because there's a little bit different of strategies I've been doing. We're going to get into that in this video as well. Alrighty guys, so we are on my computer now, and I'm going to go over first my statistics from last year and kind of run down how shoppers found me on Etsy. I want to kind of give you guys my perspective and what I'm kind of looking at as far as revenue goes and order volumes go. And even as a new Etsy store owner, this was something that really intrigued me as a new Etsy store owner. I loved seeing bigger stores and exactly how they got their visits, how they got their traffic throughout the year, because it really does matter how you're getting traffic to your Etsy store and how Etsy is bringing that traffic to you. There's so many ways that Etsy brings its traffic to you, and these 6 areas and 6 categories are how you get that Etsy traffic. One of the things I did want to mention is last year on Etsy, this is January to December 2021, we had 168 0.5K visits on my Etsy store, which is just so mind-blowing to me because I never thought I would have that amount. I remember, you know, even in this area here, this was the first time I actually started seeing a large amount of visitors. And when I first began, I only had 335 visits. And to say the least, visits don't matter as far as Etsy goes. I do want to preface by saying that visits really don't matter in the long run of things. What matters is your conversion rate and how quick you convert a visitor to a customer. So that's what I wanted to go over as well. Even with my order volumes, you guys will see here that I started with 1 order, then it went to 35 orders. Then we start seeing more orders, 189 orders, 590 orders, 696 orders, and 555 orders, 602 orders, 750 orders, 764 orders, 769 orders, 1,223 orders, guys. That's how much I made in November, which is insane to me that I made that amount only a few months ago. And then in December, it dipped down just slightly to 1,081 orders. One thing I do want to mention, as well as we're looking this all over, is that the order volume is only relative to how the revenue is per month. So for example, I could get about the same amount of orders in August and September. However, I did have a lot of bulk orders where people would purchase 20 items from me at one time. So as much as August and September are kind of the same, when you click on the revenue tab, you can see that August I had $23,293.80 of revenue, but in September I made about $3,000 more dollars in revenue. So I made $27,842.60 in September. And if we flip back to our orders area, I only had a difference of 14 orders that made me $3,000 more dollars of revenue in September, which is crazy to think about, but that's something that you want to think about if you're creating Etsy listings. Is, are you making Etsy listings that can get you high revenue or just high order volume? I think focusing more on bulk orders is your best bet as far as Etsy goes, especially with a bunch of group t-shirts that you can sell on Etsy. So that's something to think about as well. But as you guys can see too here, I got 5 more orders in October than September. So let's flip back to the revenue again, and October and September. So October, by just a few more orders, I had almost $2,000 more in revenue. I'd say 1,700 to 1,800, but still estimated of $2,000 more dollars in revenue in between those 2 months. And again, that's just people buying multiple products and multiple items in one order. So order volume is just relative to the revenue that you'll make. And as you guys can see, it is $250,000 on Etsy. However, if you factor in the production fees that I pay my print-on-demand provider, how much I spend in ads, and everything that has to go with that, if I purchase sample items or if I accepted returns, generally out of my $250,000 I made, I recently just am very close to finalizing my books. So as far as QuickBooks goes, QuickBooks says after all these production fees and everything that I'm mentioning in this video, is my gross profit out of all this was $100,000. However, after ads and all that, that takes me down to $80,000 in profit, which is pretty cool as far as last year goes, because I was working full time last year. So this is an insane amount to me. It still blows my mind that I made that much. So guys, as far as how shoppers found me, I wanted to kind of tell you guys and show you exactly where my strengths are and where the weaknesses lay as far as all this goes. So one of the main sources of my traffic last year was the Etsy app and other pages. So I had 96,000.3K visitors through the Etsy app and other pages. So that's just Etsy recommending me on their app when people sign into the homepage, or if they're on a listing and my listing is recommended in comparison to someone else's listing. That's one of the ways that Etsy really brought that organic traffic to my account and to my store last year alone. What was surprising to me is my Etsy search didn't really impact or bring in as many sales as I thought it would. So it's 38.6K people found my listings through just the search alone. So a lot of the times people actually found me being recommended by Etsy, and they didn't directly search me and find me through that. The other way that Etsy brought visitors to me is through Etsy marketing and SEO. So what Etsy does is their offsite ads, they'll market on Facebook and everything like that. So that was 13.7K, which is pretty interesting to me. I know a lot of people do not like offsite ads. I personally use offsite ads. It does take a cut of my profit, but at the end of the day, I wouldn't have had those sales to begin with. So I think using the offsite ads is your best bet, especially when you're starting out. I know there's a way to disable that, but personally, I would suggest doing offsite ads because it does bring in extra revenue that you wouldn't normally have. The other way I brought traffic is direct and other traffic. So we're going to click into that in a moment because I am just interested where most of the direct traffic has came from. My other place where I've gotten a lot of visitors was social media, and it honestly wasn't that much, guys. So I brought only 2,864 visitors to my Etsy account through social media, and that's when I first started. So this was me, as you guys can see, the Facebook groups, 2,390 people from Facebook groups visited my account, and that's honestly how many people it took to just jumpstart my Etsy account in the algorithm, and that's how I eventually got so many sales that I did. I posted in a few Facebook groups, and that's how I started to really rev up my store in the Etsy algorithm. So as you guys can see on Instagram, I had 187 visitors, Pinterest 287, and I didn't use Twitter or Tumblr. The other thing is I did try Etsy ads, and I'm gonna go over my Etsy ad campaign and show you guys in a moment here. So what I'm gonna do for the purpose of my video, I am gonna kind of block out my actual listings. And you guys know from previous videos, I've told you guys why I don't share my actual Etsy store in the listings, because I have had so many copycat stores through sharing my listings and everything like that. So just a preface on that, I am going to block out my exact listings, but I want to go over just my Etsy ad campaign with you guys from last year as well, and I'll show you guys that here. I wanted to go over this specifically to show you guys why I don't recommend ads, and it's only because I spent a small amount on ads and I had relative to no results with advertising my listings. As you guys can see here, 57.86 on ads, and I got a revenue of $445.30. Out of my revenue, I make about 20 to 30% of that revenue. So if we were to do a calculation on that, $445 times 30%, 30% at the highest end of the spectrum is $133 I would have made essentially from the revenue of the ads I spent. So if you minus the $57, I came away with about $60 in profit. It may seem like that was a great deal. However, even point two, you still make a little bit of profit with the Etsy ads, but I wasn't getting those consistent sales that I wanted when I first did this last year. So I decided to just stop ads in total and just see how my Etsy store would do with just organic traffic for the rest of the year. That's why I eventually did with my Etsy store. So just a FYI for those of you looking to do Etsy ads, of course I saw a profit, but even this year alone, if we look at this year's stats, so actually that's pretty good. That's not too bad, but I've been running $5 a day on ads. So I have a video coming out next on my results. I'm doing a case study of $5 a day on ads for 30 days straight with Etsy. So I'm gonna let you guys know how it did. But right now I'm at $160 ad spend for the year, and my revenue is $597.8. So my profit would have been $179, and I spent $159.89. So hopefully by the end of this 30-day trial period with Etsy ads, I can have more profit out of that, guys. But right now, like, I'm at an even amount of profit per how much I've spent on ads this year. So again, guys, that's just something that I wanted to touch base on in this video. But the real purpose of this video is to compare and analyze all these stats that I have from Etsy from last year. So last year in the direct and other traffic, this is what's gonna say what exactly I sold when I was on Etsy. So as you guys can see, I was getting direct and other traffic. So this is generally either through Facebook, this is either through Google search. So people were searching and they were finding me through different SEO ways on Google or whatever, maybe Bing they were on. So this is how people found me. It created 23% of my visits last year. So guys, now that you saw last year's stats, we're gonna go over this year's stats and where I am in comparison to last year. There's this really nice tool on Etsy that you can bring up that's just compared to previous periods. So last year on Etsy, I had 335 visits, and this year on Etsy in January, I had 20,021 visits. So that's a huge difference. And then again, as you guys can see, my last year on Etsy, I was slowly trailing up, but it's so insane to me to think that this year on Etsy, I made 18,000 more visits on my Etsy store. Then again, as you guys can see, there's a slight decline in my visits as far as once we hit March. Usually March is more of a slower month. It's when people are kind of saving money, or they're filing for taxes right now and they're saving money because they think they're going to pay back on taxes, or maybe they're waiting for that tax refund to come back. So generally this March area for my business specifically has been slow, and I've read that in total it is a slower month. So this is Q1, which is quarter one, this January, February, and March. Generally you see your slowest sales out of the year during this time, but I was pretty surprised, being this is my first year on Etsy with print on demand, that I had still a lot of visitors in January. So let's go to orders and see how much orders we made in this year alone. So in January, again guys, I had 712 orders, which that's pretty good as far as orders go in January. Generally, your orders dip down, but I had a lot of people purchasing. And one thing I do want to mention is in January, especially, I used to work in a big corporate retail store, and in January, that was usually a slower period of time because you get so many returns and exchanges, missed deliveries, issues like that. So you lose out on revenue usually during that time. However, the other thing is after Christmas time, people generally will start buying for themselves in January. So if they have a New Year's resolution that they're looking to maybe lose weight, they're buying workout clothes. There's certain niches that just do better in January as far as other niches go. So anyways, guys, I had 712 orders in January, and then in February it did dip down a lot. We went to 542 orders. But in comparison to last year, it's still amazing because I had 35 orders last year. So this year I had 542 orders. That's still insane to me. And then in March, that was a very slow month. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit, kind of feeling the slow March time, but we had 482 orders in March. And then right now we're only 11 days into April. So we're at 153 orders, which is, compared to last year, only about 30 more orders than April and last year. But April, like I said, generally you're going to see a huge uptick in sales and revenue, especially if you had a slower March. March is generally, like I said, slow because that's tax time. Everyone's saving for taxes because no one knows if they're going to pay or not because the tax system is so confusing to everyone. I'm in the same spot right now. If you guys haven't already heard my issues with taxes, bookkeeping, all of that, but generally March is just slow. I'd expect it as far as that goes, but April, I think we are going to see a huge increase in sales, especially come Mother's Day. People are getting gifts for mom in April. This is a very big gift giving season. It's when the bridal season kind of picks up and a lot of brides are shopping. There's a lot of niches doing well. Graduation season, so many different niches. And again, I do have content on my website down below where I have certain niche resources, when to post for seasonal niches, what niches you should be posting right now to kind of get more sales. I have an Etsy content blueprint down below, so definitely purchase that if you guys are interested in knowing what niches to be posting right now to kind of get a lot of sales and a lot of traction on Etsy. Especially you want to do it right now before Q4. Right now is the best time to start an Etsy store, in my opinion. So definitely look into that, guys. But we'll look at revenue here as well. So in 2021, I had one sale and it was $22.50, and I was over the moon that I got my first sale on Etsy. And it's crazy now that in 2022, I made $26,321 on Etsy. Guys, I'm just still over the moon about that. And in February, again, I made $1,041.55 in February, which is still insane to me. And now I make $19,557.60. And I honestly am excited to see what next year has in store, because somehow I keep increasing my revenue. And that's the beautiful part of business, is you do have control on how much you can make over time owning your own business. So in March, again, I did have a drop in sales. My drop went to $16,809, but last year I made $5,944.72. So that's a huge difference. I almost made times 3 of what I made in 2021. Almost, though, not all the way. But in April compared to last year I made $3,997. And this April so far, we're only 11 days in again, I've made $5,095.40. Again, we're comparing to our previous period. So what's really interesting to me is it looks like I'm still on trend to kind of do the same numbers I did last year, which is really exciting because, again, this is the slow period of the year. So in comparison to last year, I'm already doing so much better and I'm on track from last year. So for projected sales this year, I'm projecting around $300,000 in revenue for the whole year, which is so exciting because that's what I'm trying to do, is kind of the same as last year. I really haven't added many extra listings to my Etsy store recently, just because I've really been focusing on teaching my students how to do their own Etsy print-on-demand stores, and I've been more focusing on teaching others rather than kind of growing my store right now. So that's something that I put on the back burner. So my store growth this year is kind of estimated to do the same as last year. So we're looking at probably $300,000 in estimated revenue. So that's the exciting part of Etsy with print on demand and all there is with that. But as you guys can see, my Etsy search is on par with last year. Etsy marketing and SEO, of course, these are going to show that it's an incredible amount of increase from last year, since I didn't really have any visitors and purchases to begin with, especially in January. So it says I increased 351% on my Etsy search, which, wow, that's so much. But I'm excited to compare to next year too, and do this again every year, is see in every quarter how well I do, because it is interesting to me and I want to make sure I'm still growing as an Etsy store and not doing worse as time goes on. So my direct and other traffic has grown quite a bit. Even last year I had 17,000 from direct and other traffic. So I'm curious to see this next year if I can get more direct and other traffic. Now, my social media, I have not, like I said, I have barely posted on Facebook. I've posted on Instagram some now, and Pinterest I really haven't been keeping up with, but still these sources of social media are bringing in some type of visitors and traffic to my store. So that's pretty cool. And again, I'm testing the Etsy ads, so I'm excited to make that video and a few videos here coming up. Most likely I would expect in June or July to post my Etsy ads video. Anyways, guys, I hope going over all this really helped a lot of you guys who are starting a new Etsy store and you may not know how Etsy and the algorithm works and how it's showing your store to others. How are you getting traffic from Etsy? And Etsy is such an organic traffic machine, and these categories here show exactly how Etsy is bringing in those visitors to your store. So that's something that you want to look into and try to improve on, is your SEO and organic traffic reach. And again, guys, I have a free Etsy plus print on demand crash course. You guys can sign up for that and register for the course down below. I go over how to set up an Etsy and print on demand store, how to do basic SEO, title, tags, and then how to place designs on mockups, how to do a little bit of designing, and what softwares and type of things I do on a daily basis. So look out for all that, guys, and I will see you guys in a little bit here. At the end of the video, the first thing that I want to say is don't forget to hit that subscribe button, comment down below with any video suggestions on the next video you guys want to see from me. What do you really want to know as far as Etsy and print on demand goes? I'm sharing a bunch of free content on here, so just let me know, and if you ask, you shall receive as far as my video suggestions go. Anyways, one of the most important points I want you guys to take away from this video is don't compare anyone's store to your own store. A lot of people are in a beginning phase and they'll see stores like mine doing really well, but the thing is, it did take me a really long time, as you guys can see from my previous stats, that I finally built up the amount of revenue and amount of sales I had throughout the year. When I first started, I had 0 sales, and I had 1 sale in January, and then it picked up from there. So it does take time to see those sales come through. And if you guys want a lot more tips and advice and how to set up your store the same way I set up my store, please get my free course below. It's an Etsy plus print on demand crash course. And in that course, I go over customer service, I go over SEO, I go over how to design, how to place mockups, what videos I have on YouTube that are best for that, and maybe any business and legal questions that I personally did. I can't give advice as far as legal and tax goes, but I do have things that I personally did when I began my business that I would suggest to others to do. So check that out down below. I have all that you could need to set up your first Etsy and print-on-demand store, and it really does work, guys. Even in 2022, even with market saturation, even with low profit margins, you can still make a full-time income with this business or a side income. You know, this is a really great side hustle for, because it's very passive and you don't really have to do much for print-on-demand as far as that goes. The last thing I want to mention before we end this video is if you guys are seeing a slow period on your store, such as this month now or maybe the summer months, you may see a huge decline in sales. And the best advice I can give is during these slow periods where you have minimal customer service to do and you have minimal issues to fix and things like that, is I would hone in on creating more listings and trying to fine-tune your designs, fine-tune your store, get your store's aesthetic to the way that you would like during this time. And then also prepare for maybe different holidays that are coming up and things like that. Get ahead of the game. And one of the things that I offer on my website is called an Etsy content blueprint. And this is a calendar that has specific dates when you should be posting listings and certain types of holidays for. And a lot of people don't know when to post, but there are certain holidays that you should be posting for this month right now. And I can't stress that enough. And I provided it in a calendar for 2022 to January 2023, but you can use this calendar for every single year. I would not really change it up as far as the dates go. It gives a general idea of when you guys should post, how early you guys should post, and there's certain things that you should be posting in the summertime as opposed to right now. So definitely download that and try to get what you need out of your time that you have slower months during Etsy. So again, if there's slower months in the summertime, there's a lot of free time that you could use creating new listings and new products for in specific niches and categories. So I can't say enough that I hope that blueprint helps a lot of you guys who have that slow time and can really prepare for the holiday seasons ahead. With that being said, I hope you guys are able to get some information out of this video, and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you all in the next video here.